With Daredevil back in action over at Disney Plus, we wanted to take a look back at what started it all, the Daredevil Netflix series. It's been almost 10 years since the series first debuted on the streaming giant, garnering boatloads of fans in the process. Now, let's take a step back into the series as Stan Lee presents 107 plus facts about Daredevil. Let's get started. Number 1. A live-action Daredevil TV series has been in development for decades. In 1975, Stan Lee granted Angie Bowie the rights to both Daredevil and Black Widow for 1 year in an effort to produce a series. Bowie had promotional photos taken of her as Black Widow and Ben Carruthers as Daredevil, but the series was never picked up due to budget concerns. In 1983, Sterling Silliphant wrote a pilot for a Daredevil series for American Broadcast Company, ABC, but it too was ultimately rejected. Daredevil eventually made his live-action debut in The Trial of the Incredible Hulk in 1989, played by Rex Smith. However, and when you come to think about it, that's almost 40 years ago. That's crazy. Number 2. The MCU actually owes its existence to Daredevil 2003. While playing Foggy Nelson in that film, Jon Favreau spoke to Marvel about directing what would eventually become Iron Man 2008, the breakout entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 3. This show, along with other Netflix series, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, exist in the same continuity with one another and within the MCU. Asterisk, because we're still trying to figure out some of the very specific moments, and if Disney considers them canon. All 4 Marvel Netflix series feature street-level heroes and were all pitched to Netflix at the same time with the intent to unite these street-level heroes in The Defenders. After the crossover miniseries, a 5th series, The Punisher, was greenlit by Netflix, starring the character of the same name that appeared in Season 2 of Daredevil. Number 4. Drew Goddard was initially hired to be showrunner for the first season, but had to drop out. Goddard was committed to directing the feature film version of The Sinister Six, which was Sony's attempt at making a crossover film, which would have conflicted with Daredevil. Stephen S. DeKnight took his place, but we all know that this would all be for naught as the Sinister Six movie was cancelled twice and eventually scrapped after years of development and substantial failures of Sony's universe of Spider-Man characters. Number 5. One of the ways that this show sets itself apart is in long, continuous, or seemingly continuous shots, especially for the fight scenes. A prime example is the episode Cut Man, with a fight scene that runs for nearly 5 minutes with the camera weaving back and forth in the action and no visible shot cuts. Number 6. The Daredevil title sequence created by Elastic, who have done True Detective, stood out for its unique concept, blood-like fluid revealing hidden forms. Patrick Clare envisioned a red world uncovered by liquid, symbolizing poison and justice. CG lead Andrew Romatz and Fluids lead Miguel A. Salick fine-tuned simulations for the right texture and miniature-like effect. Originally animated to 90s trip-hop, the final sequence was eventually scored by John Paisano. Due to time constraints, references to Murdoch's boxing history were eventually cut out. Number 7. According to Marvel television executive Jeff Loeb, the series was influenced by 1970s crime films like The French Connection, Dog Day Afternoon, and Taxi Driver. In a quote by him, "We're approaching this as a crime drama first, superhero show second." Number 8. Netflix announced in November 2018 that the show was cancelled after 3 seasons. This came soon after canceling Iron Fist and Luke Cage. And we all know eventually they were going to be developing a Disney Plus series. Number 9. From March 1st, 2022, Daredevil as well as the rest of the Marvel Netflix shows will no longer be available on Netflix due to Netflix losing the licensing rights and Disney retaining the rights to the show. They were then available to stream on Disney Plus starting on March 16th of that same year. Parental controls have been added to Disney Plus in order to allow more mature content of the series to be added. I remember that's when we started to see even more on Disney Plus, and thank God, because Disney Plus, I kind of ran out of things to watch on that thing. Alright, let's get on to the cast. Number 10. Of course, we gotta start with Charlie Cox, who absolutely crushed it as Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer by day and Hell's Kitchen's fearless vigilante by night. Number 11. Charlie Cox was given a chance to read the first 2 scripts for the series. After reading it, he wanted to be involved in the show, having told his agent, "These are 2 of the best television scripts I've ever read." Number 12. Charlie Cox stated in interviews that he never cared much about the comics before taking this role, but it got him to start checking them out. Now he's enough of a fan to be disappointed that Daredevil doesn't play his role from the comics in Captain America Civil War. Number 13. Charlie Cox is the first non-American actor to play Matt Murdock / Daredevil in a live-action adaptation of the character. Number 14. One thing that Matt Murdock and Charlie Cox have in common is that, just like Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox was also raised Catholic. Number 15. Murdock's Catholicism plays a large role in the series, with Season 1 showrunner Stephen S. Knight calling him one of the most, if not the most, religious characters in the Marvel Universe. Number 16. Charlie Cox performs many of his own basic stunts, but the more hazardous ones are choreographed by his stunt double, Chris Brewster. Number 17. Funny enough, Charlie Cox also auditioned to play Loki in Thor before landing his MCU role as Daredevil. Number 18. Charlie Cox was honored at the American Foundation for the Blind's 19th Annual Helen Keller Achievement Awards on June 18, 2015 for his performance as Daredevil. Number 19. Main star of Dexter, Michael C. Hall, was rumored for the lead role. He said he would have considered it, but it was nothing but rumors. Number 20. In all of the various Daredevil comics, Matt Murdock always had striking red hair, unlike this series. Number 21. Every great hero needs a terrifying villain, and Vincent D'Onofrio delivered one of the most chilling performances as Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. From his brutal fights to his soft-spoken yet terrifying demeanor, he made Fisk one of the most complex villains in the Marvel Universe. Number 22. Daredevil marks the first time since the trial of the Incredible Hulk that the character of Wilson Fisk / the Kingpin is played by a white actor. Roscoe Lee Brown voiced him on Spider-Man the Animated Series, and Michael Clark Duncan played him in Daredevil 2003. Number 23. Vincent D'Onofrio has said that Wilson Fisk is his favorite role he's ever played. He was ecstatic to return to the role in Hawkeye after Netflix had canceled Daredevil, and then to return to the role again for Echo and Daredevil Born Again. Number 24. During Wilson Fisk's first date with Vanessa, she mentions meeting a wealthy man who was dressed in a white suit with an ascot. Fisk scoffs at the outfit. In the comics, Fisk is often depicted as wearing a white suit with an ascot, which is usually purple. He was later seen brandishing the ascot in the MCU TV miniseries Hawkeye. Number 25. Vanessa Mariana is an adaptation of the Kingpin's wife in the comics, Vanessa Fisk. Number 26. Karen Page, played by Deborah Ann Wall, starts off as the Nelson and Murdoch's firm's secretary, but quickly proves she's a tenacious journalist with a knack for uncovering the truth. Number 27. Deborah Ann Wall refers to her close-knit team in the series as her Scooby Gang. Number 28. While filming Season 2, John Bernthal gave Deborah Ann Wall the nickname Prosecutor. She was puzzled why he gave her that nickname, but she later figured out that it might be because she was playing a legal assistant in the show. Bernthal later revealed to her that it was because the acronym of her first names is DA, as in District Attorney. Number 29. Similar to her colleague Charlie Cox, Deborah Ann Wall had not previously read any Daredevil comics, and turned to her fiancé E.J. Scott, who is a huge comic book fan, for guidance. Number 30. E.J. Scott suffers from a disease called chorioderemia that is causing him to slowly go blind, and for the premiere of the show, he dressed up as Matt Murdock. Number 31. You can't have Daredevil without his best friend and law partner Foggy Nelson, played by Eldon Henson. He's the heart and humor of the show, constantly balancing his loyalty to Matt with his frustration over his dangerous double life. Number 32. Rosario Dawson plays Claire Temple, a nurse who keeps patching up Hell's Kitchen's vigilantes. Like Matt, Luke Cage, you name it. Number 33. Rosario Dawson also starred in Sin City and Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, which are two other adaptations based on Frank Miller comic series. Number 34. The character of Claire Temple was originally intended to be the comic character Linda Carter, aka Night Nurse. However, Marvel Studios had potential plans for that character. The character as presented here is an amalgam of the comics characters Claire Temple, most often an associate and early love interest of Luke Cage, and Linda Carter, more associated with Daredevil. Number 35. John Bernthal steps in as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, in Season 2, and basically steals every scene he's in. His brutal, no-mercy approach to justice makes him a fascinating contrast to Daredevil, leading to some of the best fight scenes in the entire show. Number 36. John Bernthal made audition tapes together with Tom Holland while filming Pilgrimage, with both actors landing their roles of Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, and Spider-Man, respectively. Number 37. Elodie Yung brings the dangerous and unpredictable Elektra Natchios to life, and let's just say, things get complicated once she's introduced. Number 38. A lesser-known but important character, Blake Tower, played by Steven Ryder, is an assistant DA who occasionally helps Daredevil with inside info and legal challenges. Number 39. Introduced in Season 3, Sister Maggie, played by Joanne Whalley, is a tough, no-nonsense nun who plays a crucial role in Matt's recovery. Number 40, Ray Nadeem, played by Jay Alley, is an FBI agent who finds himself in way over his head when he starts working with Wilson Fisk. Number 41, we also see Wilson Bethel as Benjamin Dex Poindexter, aka Bullseye. He starts off as an FBI agent with sniper-level accuracy, but when Fisk gets into his head, he spirals into full villain mode. Number 42, Jason Statham was in negotiations to appear as Bullseye in Season 2, although he ultimately declined the role. Number 43, Scott Glenn joins in as the character Stick. This makes him the first American actor to play Stick, with his predecessor, Terrence Stamp, being English. Number 44, according to Scott Glenn, Stick is in his late 90s, but still has the strength of a man in his 20s. Number 45, Shinichi Sony Chiba was almost cast as Stick. Number 46, in Season 1, Episode 1, Fogwell's Gym gets a shout out, and for those of you that know, that place is an iconic Marvel Comics spot, especially in Matt Murdock's backstory where his dad was a boxer. Seeing it here ties everything right back to the source material. Number 47, Father Lantom appears in Season 1, and in the comics he's got ties to Cloak and Dagger as well. We don't really get that crossover here, but it's, good bit of connective tissue that teases it out, Number 48, the prison guard named Farnham, probably a nod to Frank Farnham, the firm's comic book landlord, who led a double life as the Masked Marauder. Number 49, in Episode 2, we get another crossover. We meet Carl Crusher Creel, aka the Absorbing Man from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Here, he's pre-powers, but still very much a threat. Number 50, Claire calls Matt Mike, which is a fun nod to the comics where Matt creates an imaginary twin brother named Mike Murdock to help protect his identity. It's one of those weird but memorable storylines. Number 51, in Episode 3, we see that Ben Urich works for the New York Bulletin. In the comics, Ben Urich works for the Daily Bugle, but since the Sony Marvel deal didn't happen yet, we get the New York Bulletin. Number 52, in Episode 5, Claire makes a joke about billionaire playboys, which is a clear nod to Tony Stark. Number 53, there's a quick blink and you'll miss it moment. The sniper's gear bag in Episode 6 has a playing card on it, and if you're a Daredevil fan, your mind probably would have jumped to Bullseye, which is a subtle nod to the future. Number 54, St. Agnes Orphanage shows up here, and it's the same one where Daisy Johnson, aka Skye, was dropped off in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Number 55, in Episode 8, we finally get some backstory on Rigoletto, Kingpin's former boss. In the comics, Fisk eventually kills him to rise through the ranks. Here, the implication is the same, and he definitely didn't just retire. We know Fisk did something. Number 56, inside Potter's workshop, there's a poster that says Revenge of the Gladiators, which is a subtle nod to what he will become eventually in the series, which is his comic book alter ego, Gladiator. Number 57, the logo on the heroin packets in Episode 9 is actually the mark of the Steel Serpent, an Iron Fist villain named Davos. It's another tease that we will eventually see the mystical side of the Marvel Netflix world. Number 58, Nobu's outfit and fighting style, plus his name, which might reference Kakenobu Yoshioka, are major hints that he's part of the Hand, which is one of Daredevil's biggest adversaries in the comics, and a faction that eventually shows up in the future seasons. Number 59, in Episode 10, in Ben's office, look at the frame headlines. One is about the Battle of New York, the other is titled Terror in Harlem, which is a direct nod to the Incredible Hulk. Number 60, Matt and Foggy's old firm, Landman and Zack, worked on a case for Roxxon Oil. Roxxon is a shady company that keeps popping up across the MCU, from Iron Man to Agent Carter. Number 61, in the comics, it's actually Fisk who has a near-death experience, not Vanessa, as seen in Episode 11, but here the roles are reversed to shake things up. Number 62, there are even more Gladiator references in this episode, with that diamond design Matt walks past as a nod to the Gladiator's chest emblem, and Melvin throws a buzzsaw during their fight, which is another comic book weapon brought to life. Number 63, Potter mentions someone named Betsy, who's being held by Fisk. In the comics, Betsy Biotti is the woman who helps Melvin turn his life around and eventually becomes his wife. Number 64, in Episode 12, if you look across from the Nelson and Murdoch office, you'll spot Atlas Investments. It's a fun nod to Atlas Comics, which is the company that eventually became Marvel. Number 65, there's a quick reference to the movie Serpico, a story about a cop standing up to corruption. The Ultimate Comics version of Punisher actually has a similar backstory involving dirty cops and revenge, which is good foreshadowing for what's to come. Number 66, when Daredevil puts on the new suit, there's a faint yellow reflection on his helmet, which is a subtle nod to his original yellow and red costume from the early comics. Number 67, Alright, there's also a Stan Lee cameo. He doesn't show up in person, but there's a photo of him as a cop on the precinct wall in this episode. Moving on to Season 2, for number 68, Episode 1 opens up with a heat wave, which feels like a stylistic nod to The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. Number 69, the Irish mob steps back in the spotlight with the introduction of Mr. Nesbitt, a character originally created by Garth Ennis in the Punisher comics. This is a fun reminder of Hell's Kitchen real-world Irish-American history. Matt's own roots tie directly into that legacy. Number 70, there's a fun line about the streets looking like a war zone after the Punisher's attacks, which is likely a nod to Punisher Warzone, both the comic and the 2008 movie. Number 71, the Dogs of Hell gang is reintroduced in this episode, and they were first seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1, which gives this episode one very clear Marvel TV Universe crossovers. Of course, we'll have to see if that's still canon. I really want to know exactly what is considered Marvel canon now that Daredevil is integrated into the MCU. Number 72, there's also a potentially cheeky reference in the name of the club, Byrne. It could be a coincidence, but it also could be a subtle nod to comic legend John Byrne. Number 73. In episode 2, after his rooftop run-in with Frank Castle, Matt suffers a temporary loss of his heightened senses. This echoes two separate moments in Frank Miller's comics, Daredevil number 177 and Daredevil number 183, where Matt's senses either malfunction or disappear entirely. The show, thankfully, avoids dragging that subplot out. Number 74. DA Samantha Reyes makes her return here. We last saw her in Jessica Jones, which continues the list of the ever-growing crossover threads in Marvel's Netflix universe. Number 75. In the episode, a character casually drops the word Killdozer during a conversation. That might be a blink and you'll miss it reference to a little-known Marvel character, but it's also a kind of random Marvel deep cut that fans love to chase. Number 76. A box in Frank's stash is labeled 007, which feels like a playful nod to James Bond, which is the classic license to kill agent. Number 77. In episode 3, the entire rooftop conversation is heavily inspired by The Punisher number 3, back in 2001, written by Garth Ennis. That's the story where Frank tapes a gun to Daredevil's hands and forces him into a moral standoff. Number 78. The reference to Castle being an Americanization of the name Castiglione ties into his Sicilian roots and deepens the complexity of his anti-hero persona. It also calls back to classic New York City gang rivalries between Italians and Irish, both of which are represented on this show. Number 79. Claire Temple is back and hints at trouble at her hospital job. This helps set up her eventual move to Harlem, where we'll see her again in Luke Cage. Number 80. Frank's bond with his dog reinforces one of his most enduring traits. No matter how brutal he is, Frank has a code, and hurting dogs is definitely off his limits. Number 81. The infamous Punisher battle van makes a low-key debut. In the comics, it's a decked-out mobile war room, and here it's more grounded, but still a fun reference. Number 82. Sharp-eyed fans can spot a little something in Melvin's workshop: Stiltman's armored legs. Number 83. In episode 5 of season 2, the joyride in the red sports car is lifted straight from Daredevil, The Man Without Fear by Miller and John Romita Jr., a key reimagining of Daredevil's origin that also introduced his ninja-style early costume. Number 84. Inside the Bulletin offices, there are framed headlines referencing major MCU events, like the Battle of New York and Stark Tower. There's also a headline reading Cybertech Settles, referencing the company behind Deathlock from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Number 85. Karen visits the newsroom, and if you look closely, one headline says Broadway Bimbo's busted. This could be a reference to Typhoid Mary's pre-villain origin, depending on how deep you want to read into it. Number 86. We finally see Matt's billy clubs transforming into a walking cane. This gadget is a longtime comic book staple and one of Daredevil's signature tools, which is a big win for comic accuracy. Number 87. Elektra's mention of Mr. Hiroshi is likely a reference to Lord Hiroshi, a leader of a faction of the Hand in the comics. This also signals the return of the Ninja Clan in a huge way. Number 88. In episode 7 of season 2, for those that don't know, the Empire State Building is lit up in various different colors representing different things that are happening within the city. And what this is confirming is that the episode was filmed during the Mets 2015 World Series run. Number 89. Foggy mentions Elektra is a diplomat's daughter. This lines up with her comic origin, where her father was a Greek ambassador. Number 90. The title 7 Minutes in Heaven refers to the deal Fisk offers Frank, 7 minutes alone in a cell block to take out a rival. The prison massacre that follows is straight out of a horror film and perfectly shows off Frank's ruthless efficiency. Number 91. Frank is given the name the Blacksmith, the mysterious supplier behind the Central Park Massacre. There's no major comic book character with that name, so this appears to be a show original figure. Number 92. Nobu returns, now confirmed to be back from the dead. This strongly suggests that Nobu is this show's take on Kirigi, a nearly immortal hand warrior from Frank Miller's Daredevil run. Number 93. In episode 10, Matt confronts Fisk in prison, and we get a major development. Fisk finally learns that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. This moment mirrors the early stages of Born Again, when Kingpin uses Matt's secret identity to begin dismantling his life. Number 94. The Cell Block D reference is likely an homage to Devil in Cell Block D, an arc from Ed Brubaker and Michael Lark's Daredevil run where Matt ends up in prison surrounded by his enemies. Number 95. The title of episode 11.380 refers to the handgun caliber. Number 96. The rooftop scene where Matt saves a victim mid-air while swinging from his baton is a rare glimpse of Daredevil in full superhero mode. Swinging rescues are common in the comics, but relatively rare in the Netflix series, so this one kinda stands out. Number 97. We find out in episode 12 of season 2 that Elektra is the Black Sky, a living weapon the Hand has been seeking for years. In the comics, Black Sky isn't a defined term, but it fits Elektra's dark destiny, especially during her time as the Hand's leader. Number 98. The tunnels and ninjas evoke Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which makes sense since TMNT was originally a parody of Daredevil. The Foot Clan? Sound familiar? Well, that's because it's supposed to be a spin on the Hand. Splinter? Splinter is a take on Stick. Number 99. After killing Schoonover, Frank discovers a disc labeled Micro, which is a huge reveal for Microchip, or just Micro, which is a key character in Punisher's lore. He is Frank's tech guy, intel gatherer, and occasional conscience. Number 100. In episode 13, Elektra was fatally stabbed, which mirrors her iconic death from Daredevil number 181, where she was originally killed by Bullseye. While Bullseye isn't in the show at this point, Nobu fills that role instead. Number 101. Elektra's death scene, complete with her funeral outfit resembling her comic book costume, is a direct reference to her resurrection arc in the comics. The red garment is unmistakably Elektra. Number 102. In a satisfying crossover moment, Foggy is recruited by Jerry Hogarth from Jessica Jones. Add that to the list of other crossover Netflix moments. Number 103. Frank Castle officially dons the Punisher skull, and even better, it's spray painted on a bulletproof vest, just like in the 1989 Punisher movie's comic adaptation. It's a subtle, fun homage for longtime fans. Alright, from this point on, we are in Season 3 territory. Number 104. Episode 1 of Season 3 kicks off the season with heavy inspiration from Born Again. Matt recuperating in a church under the care of Sister Maggie is pulled straight from that storyline, though in Born Again, it happens later, after Matt's entire life has unraveled. Number 105. Sister Maggie Grace first appeared in Daredevil number 229, a chapter of Born Again, and also plays a major role in Guardian Devil by Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada. The sharper, more sarcastic version that we see in Daredevil is closer to the Guardian Devil take. Number 106. Matt's bitter, self-destructive crisis of faith has echoes of both Born Again and Guardian Devil, though in this season there are no supernatural elements, just suffering. Number 107. Fisk's prison gym bench press is a subtle reminder that in the comics, the Kingpin isn't fat, he's solid muscle. So seeing him push 300 plus pounds reminds us of the physical threat he poses. Number 108. Foggy's blue-collar family background isn't from the comics. There, his mother was a wealthy lawyer, but this grounded version of his roots fits the tone of the show better. Number 109. Agent Benjamin Dex Poindexter is introduced, and yes, he is Bullseye. His accuracy, demeanor, and even his name are dead giveaways, though the show is taking its time formally confirming it. Bullseye first appeared in Daredevil number 131, created by Marv Wolfman and John Romita Sr. He's Daredevil's most lethal nemesis, which is kind of like the Joker to Matt's Batman. Number 110. Matt is listed as 5'10 on a prison form, which aligns with Charlie Cox's real height. In the comics, Daredevil is typically listed at around 6 feet, but seeing heroes with average height is a welcome change. Not everyone can be above 6 feet. Number 111. Here it is, Season 3, Episode 4. The long take hallway fight of Season 3. Clocking in at nearly 15 straight minutes, this one-take brawl is brutal, exhausting, and very, very well choreographed. Not a direct comic reference, just good filmmaking. Number 112. In episode 6, when Matt and Karen meet in a diner, they notably don't get coffee. You know, a running meta joke in the Marvel Netflix universe alongside real life is that when you get coffee, it's actually, sleeping together. Number 113. Deborah Ann Woll has joked in interviews that Marvel actually banned the use of the phrase to avoid confusion. Number 114. The MCU news channels covering the Bulletin Massacre include WJBP, WHIH, and WNEX, Marvel TV staples that help tie this corner of the universe together. Number 115. Karen's paperwork includes the word Magia, which is a significant nod. In the comics, the Magia is Marvel's Mafia stand-in, a criminal organization often seen in Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Daredevil stories. Number 116. Yes, Episode 8 also fully confirms it. Fisk knows Matt is Daredevil. With that reveal, we're fully stepping into born-again territory, which is fitting since we know exactly where the eventual Season 4, which is Disney's of Seasons, will take inspiration from. Number 117. Maggie's backstory is tweaked from the comics. There, she suffered postpartum depression after giving birth to Matt. Here, she fell in love with Jack, left her vows behind, and then returned to church after giving birth and suffering severe depression. It all ends in sadness. Number 118. The old Crusher Creel poster still hangs in Fogwell's gym, which is a nice carryover from Season 1. Number 119. It took 3 seasons, but finally in Season 3, Episode 9, Fisk is publicly called the Kingpin. And trust me, when fans heard that aloud, goosebumps. Number 120. Among the criminals being rounded up is Rosalie Carbone, played by Annabelle Sciorra. She previously appeared in The Punisher and Luke Cage, so it's great to see that Netflix characters can cross over. Number 121. Matt wraps his hands in Muay Thai ropes, which is a visual cue that he's ready for war. Number 122. Dex killing someone with a pencil is textbook bullseye. Number 123. In episode 10, this is the long-awaited Karen Page origin episode. It doesn't go full born again, which means that there's no mention of her adult film career, but it paints a believable and painful picture of a small-town girl who made a few bad decisions and is still haunted by them. One step away from giving blowjobs for my next fix is a grim nod to this dark comic book arc, even if the show stops short of going all in on it. Number 124. Karen's hometown of Fagin, Vermont may be a subtle tribute to Tom Fagin, a well-known comic superfan whose Halloween parades were referenced in Marvel Comics throughout the 70s. Number 125. In Fogwell's gym, a poster reads Parker vs. Morales, which has to be some nod to Peter Parker and Miles Morales, which were the two Spider-Men. Number 126. The doctor operating on Dex is listed as Dr. Oyama, possibly Kenji Oyama, aka Lord Darkwind. In Daredevil number 196, he's the one who invents the adamantium bonding process. Number 127. Matt's eulogy for Father Lantom includes the phrase, "man without fear," calling back to Daredevil's famous tagline. Number 128. The Velas Taxi Company takes its name after a Slavic deity of the underworld. Number 129. The filming location for Josie's Bar is the Williamsburg Brooklyn Dive Bar, the Turkey's Nest Tavern, on North 12th Street and Bedford Ave. Number 130. The sign on the window of Foggy's and Matt's office, Van Lunt, refers to Cornelius Van Lunt, aka Taurus, a former New York City real estate magnate who forms a criminal organization called Zodiac. Number 131. The poster for Season 2 pays homage to The Last Judgment, Michelangelo's painting depicting the Christian apocalypse. On the left of Michelangelo's painting are people ascending to heaven, which are depicted in the poster by Foggy, Karen, etc., while the people on the right, Fisk, Vanessa, Wesley, etc., are cast into hell. Separating the two groups is Christ, which in this poster is Matt himself. Number 132. The red and yellow robe used by Batlin Jack Murdock is reminiscent of Daredevil's original yellow costume in his first appearance. Notably, the limited run 2001 comic book series Daredevil Yellow, which is a modern retelling of several of Daredevil's early adventures, which would establish that Matt would create his yellow costume from these robes. Number 133. In Season 2, each episode's title is either verbally mentioned or referenced in the previous one. Number 134. Two paintings in the show, which are shown to be Fisk and Murdock, are direct representations of their comic book counterparts. Fisk is shown as a large, wide white painting, and Murdock is shown as a tall red painting. In the comics, Fisk primarily wears a white suit, and Murdock, as Daredevil, primarily wears a red suit. Number 135. When James Wesley is told how dangerous the Man in Black is and how much damage he causes, Wesley says it's a man in a black mask. It's not like he's in an iron suit or a magic hammer, referring to Iron Man and Thor, and further establishing continuity with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with that, we've covered what we can of Netflix's Daredevil, now MCU certified. How does this compare to Born Again on Disney+? Which do you like better? Comment down below to let us know. We're definitely going to be doing one of these for Born Again, so stay tuned for that. Till next time, believers, Excelsior!